There's something instantly comforting about remembering those early mornings, when a 1960s teen woke not to digital alarms, but to soft daylight slipping through patterned curtains and the gentle stir of a family home coming to life. No screens, no notifications, just quiet footsteps on the landing and the familiar rhythm of a new day beginning. It was a slower, calmer start, shaped by routine rather than rush. Back then, mornings felt almost unhurried, giving young people a moment to ease into the world. And it's in that peaceful beginning that the rest of the day truly found its shape, leading naturally into the life that followed. What makes the 1960s so unforgettable is the feeling that Britain itself was stretching its arms after a long sleep. For teens, it was a decade shaped by post-war optimism, when streets felt brighter, opportunities wider, and the future suddenly more exciting than uncertain. Youth culture was beginning to take on a life of its own, with fresh fashions appearing in shop windows and early televised entertainment, quietly transforming living rooms across the country. Gone were the tightly bound routines of the 1950s. In their place came color, confidence, and curiosity. Young people were discovering a new kind of independence, walking to school with friends, choosing their own hobbies, even forming early tastes in music and style. It was a time when Britain felt as though it was moving forward, and teenagers were moving with it. And to understand that momentum, we only need to follow one teen through the rhythm of an ordinary weekday. There was something wonderfully predictable yet quietly thrilling about a 1960s school day. The walk to school set the tone, shoes tapping along pavements, friends joining one by one, and the cool morning air carrying the promise of chatter before lessons began. Classrooms had a distinct atmosphere. Polished floors, sturdy desks, timetables pinned neatly on walls, and a sense of order that defined much of the decade. Yet within that structure, friendships flourished. Lunchtimes meant hurried conversations, shared snacks, and whispered plans for later. After school, small meets became the highlight, browsing local shops, practicing hobbies, or simply lingering outdoors before heading home. And then came the quiet magic of Fridays, when the final bell released a wave of relief and anticipation. It wasn't freedom in the modern sense, but it felt like it. These weekday rhythms shaped a generation, gently preparing them for the evenings that awaited at home. Evenings in the 1960s carried a rhythm all their own, a gentle shift from the bustle of school to the warmth of home. A teen's first task was often lending a hand, setting the table, tidying a room, or helping with small chores that taught responsibility without ever feeling too heavy. Simple meals brought the family together, with easy conversation drifting across the table as everyone shared the day's little triumphs and frustrations. Early entertainment offered a cozy pause, enjoyed without the constant pull of modern screens. Homework followed, done with quiet focus, the only distractions being the soft sounds of family life unfolding nearby. As the evening slowed, the house felt settled, wrapped in a familiar calm that signaled another day well lived. For teens, these routines weren't burdens, they were anchors, shaping an independence built through steady rhythm. And with weekends approaching, that sense of anticipation only grew. Weekends in the 1960s carried a magic all their own, offering teens a freedom that felt earned after a long school week. Saturday mornings meant small-town high streets, where window displays invited slow browsing and favorite tunes drifted from open doorways. Friends gathered easily without messages or plans. You simply knew where people would be. Outdoors, the world felt wider, from local parks to familiar lanes that became places of quiet adventure. Even the simplest weekend treats felt special, treasured in a way that's hard to replicate today. These golden hours shaped identity, independence, and memories that lingered long after Monday returned. Looking back, it becomes clear that 1960s teen life offered lessons that stayed quietly woven into adulthood. Patience grew from waiting for things rather than expecting them instantly. Community came from knowing neighbors, sharing spaces, and relying on one another in small, everyday ways. Creativity flourished in a world without constant entertainment, where imagination filled the gaps. And resilience developed through routines that asked young people to contribute, adapt, and find joy in simple moments. These experiences shaped a generation's outlook, leaving echoes that still surface in conversations, memories, and values. And as we compare it with today, the contrast becomes even more striking. When we place the 1960s beside today, the contrast feels almost unbelievable. A quieter world, slower routines, and independence shaped by real-life moments rather than digital noise. Teens live through days built on simplicity and trust, and remembering that rhythm reminds us how deeply those years shaped who we became. For more of these unbelievable memories, tap the video on your screen. The 1970s stories are something else. Don't forget to subscribe.